You wanted the best. You've got the best podcast. The hottest podcast in the world. The Chris Voss Show, the preeminent podcast with guests so smart you may experience serious brain bleed. The CEOs, authors, thought leaders, visionaries, and motivators. Get ready. Strap yourself in. Keep your hands, arms, and legs inside the vehicle at all times, because you're about to go on a monster education roller coaster with your brain. Now, here's your host, Chris Voss.
I'm Chris Voss here from the ChrisVossShow.com. Ladies and gentlemen, our latest things that makes official. Welcome to 16 years and 23 episodes of the Chris Voss Show, with 10 to 15 new shows coming every day, or every weekday, I should say, bringing you all the smartest people, the brightest minds, the people that will share with you their journeys, their cathartic moments, and give you the blueprints for how to have a better life. Maybe that's what we should have called the show, the Blueprints for a Better Life podcast. That's a little long, though. Hey, guys, go to goodreads.com/Chris Voss, linkedin.com/Chris Voss, Chris Voss1 on the TikTokity and all those crazy places on the internet. Opinions expressed by guests on the podcast are solely their own and do not necessarily reflect the opinions of the host or the Chris Voss Show. Some guests of the show may be advertising on the podcast, but it is not an endorsement or review of any kind. Today, we have an amazing young lady on the show with us today. Helen Taylor joins us. She is a premier wellness concierge offering personalized, integrative healthcare that transforms lifestyles and improves long-term outcomes. She holds a master's degree in biomedical science and a genetic and regenerative medicine with specialization in molecular and cellular immunology. She brings over 20 years of experience to her wellness practice. Welcome to the show, Helen. How are you?
I'm really good. Thank you very much for having me here.
Thank you. And give us your .coms. Where can people find you on the interwebs?
Okay, so socials, the wellness_concierge, and website is the wellness-concierge.com.
So give us a 30,000 overview, what you do there.
So basically, in a nutshell, a bit like a personal shopper, I am your personal wellness concierge. So rather than leaving it to you to try and work out how to optimize your own health, I do it for you.
We need all the help we can get these days. And then you hold, I see several sort of degrees or things beside your name that I believe are for, your significance of certification of your experience. So there's your MSc and FC MGR. What do those titles mean?
So recently I did my master's in biomedicine. I'm a bona fide geek when it comes to it, which is rare, I think. I love everything genetics. I did my master's in molecular and cellular immunology. So I'm a bit like a Sherlock Holmes when it comes to, you've tried everywhere else, and I love getting to the nitty gritty of it. The other one is very much a management qualification.
Tell us about how you got into this field. How did you grow up? What were some of your influences that got you into this?
I think I've always been a geek. I've always wanted to know why. And I think whereas some people do the whys when they're 2 years old and terrible twos, I kind of ended up doing it through the whole of my adult life. And I always wanted to know, why did, for example, this skincare give me the best dewy looking skin? Why does this shampoo do this? How does it do it? How? And when people couldn't tell me that, I started to dig a bit deeper. And that... because we want to know why, right? We want to know, why does this toothpaste, so-called, why does it do what it does? And how does it do it? And does it cause me harm? And also, I think from my personal experience, I ended up having to have a hysterectomy when I was younger than normal. And so that got me asking why. My partner had a heart attack a couple of years ago, and that really got me asking why, because there was no real reason.
How long have you been running the Wellness Concierge?
The Wellness Concierge is a couple of years old, although I've been within this industry for nearly 20 years.
Was it your partner's health issues that helped you kick it off? Or
I suppose I've been doing it before. The refinement of it is probably what catapulted that, because I'd been doing it. And then I thought, I'm going to move over and just do this full time. So I work with people all over the world, with people who have probably really difficult, complex issues, terminal illnesses, and turn them around.
Wow. And a lot of it seems to focus around detoxing. Is that correct?
Yeah, we are toxic. We are very toxic. And that's both from the people that surround us, but also the things that we eat and subliminally unaware of. That's incredibly toxic. And our bodies never had an upgrade, remember? We are still 1.0. We are not like any of the other brands that upgrade constantly. You know what I mean? We are still the same as we were millions of years ago. So, yeah, we don't necessarily understand what some of these things are that are around to, use to wash our hair or put on our face.
Yeah, I forgot to connect myself to the Wi-Fi so I could get my download upgrade. And then Apple has informed me that my model is too old to receive upgrades in this planned obsolescence scheme. And that's kind of where we're at right now. You're too old to be upgraded, Chris. Oh, damn it. Damn it. You did that with my iPhone X. Yeah, my iPhone X, I can't get the new updates from Apple because
I know, right?
yeah, it's planned obsolescence. So it's like you got to buy a new phone. So basically, Apple's telling me to get a new body. But yeah, I missed the upgrade thing. But yeah, there's a lot of stuff that we detox. We've had people on the show that have talked about estrogenics, and that was one thing I made a huge change in my life on. Is that something that you get into, some of the chemicals and forever chemicals that are in stuff?
Yeah, so microplastics, BPA plastics, phthalates, pesticides. So I can run various different tox panels that look at molds. There's a lot of mold in food. There's a lot of mold in our surroundings. I'll look at environmental toxicity and I'll look at heavy metal load as well, because subsequently, if those things are backing up in your body, they're causing some harm.
Yeah. And, we had someone on the show who taught us about estrogenics. And I remember it was so interesting. I was kind of like, yeah, okay. You got some idea there. And I don't understand estrogenics or chemicals or stuff. But I remember I tried paraben-free soaps and shampoos. And I was like, okay, this seems nice, whatever. I don't know. I can't really tell without probably some sort of blood test what's going on with me. But I remember I ran out of the paraben-free, the very healthy stuff that they'd recommended, the soaps. And I was like, I got to order some from Amazon. So I'll just use the stuff I used to use after a month of using the paraben-free stuff. And I did that. And I remember my hair felt like it was covered in wax and my hands felt like I dipped them in wax because I was using the old products that had all the paraben and stuff in them. And I literally scrubbed my hands. I remember it was like 5 or 6 times with soap trying to get the wax feeling off that had come from all the crap that was in the stuff. And I never noticed it before because that's just how I lived for 50 years with, some of these chemicals being in my stuff. It's causing women to start their menstrual cycles at 9 years old instead of 12. It's causing a lot of men to have really low testosterone. And some of the chemicals that we have. And I can imagine, I've had friends that, they've had toxicity from the mercury or lead in their, some of us old boomers and Gen Xers, they were put some really crap in our fillers.
Yeah, amalgam fillers in the teeth as well.
Yeah. Yeah. And I had some friends that had different issues and they took the fillers out and it didn't fully heal them, but it made their life 10,000 times better. It turns 100. Out those things were making them sick.
Yeah. And they're the last thing that any doctor ordinarily would look at. They wouldn't, they just don't look at them full stop. They're just not acknowledged. They're not looked at all. And, it also causes problems with all hormones. So people trying to have babies, get pregnant, there's a lot of infertility these days. There's a lot of people, 50% of couples these days are looking for infertility treatment. I mean, that's absurd when people, as humans, human race, we are genetically predisposed to procreate. And now that's not possible. So where do people locate their phones?
Yeah.
Front pocket?
Yeah. It's interesting, all the interference that we can have with our bodies with chemicals and all sorts of stuff that's going on. I've often wondered about that. So you help people identify through testing what sort of toxicities may be interfering with their systems.
Yeah, through toxicity testing, heavy metal load, but also we'll do blood tests. We may get even deeper. I might look at how your cells are working and what could be stopping those cells from working. We've got something called our mitochondria, which in some countries isn't even still recognized, but it is the powerhouse. It's the energy source of the cell. So people who may have chronic fatigue, for example, and a lot of people suffer from that, long COVID, they suffer with mitochondrial dysfunction. So I can get to a cellular level and we can look to see if there's anything, potentially heavy metals, that are causing that disruption.
It's amazing how many toxins are in our thing. And now you work internationally with clients, right? So there's probably different toxins. Like I know there's some chemicals that, I think yellow number 5 or something, that America allows, but other countries don't. So there's probably different chemical issues around the world, maybe.
Also, it really varies from, even in America, from state to state.
Wow.
It can vary what can be bad. And I know some people have actually left sort of really populated, heavy vehicle states to move out of town, and they suddenly feel a lot better.
I know one of the problems where I visit is in Utah, and they have they have a lot of chemicals here and crap in the air and stuff, but we have an inversion system. And it's a giant valley, and the clouds just stack on top of it and hold the awful air in. And so it's you're just breathing poison air all the time.
Yeah.
And you can feel it. You can tell the difference. You can wake up in the morning and see and feel how bad the inversion is. And when these sort of things are making an effect on your body, it's kind of an issue.
Yeah, and I think we've been led to believe that these things don't cause a problem. But I think more and more people are becoming a little bit wiser to that fact and realize that there are other things that are causing a problem, especially water. Just something as simple as your water supply can have a significant amount of heavy metals in. Wow.
And so here in America, we have some different problems, especially in some different areas of the country. Flint, Michigan had, they had a bunch of crap in their water, lead, I believe. And then there's been some places in Texas that have had water issues. And they put so many chemicals in our water, and we have kind of an antiquated plumbing system here in America that's fairly old and starting to cause problems and different things. But the chemicals that they put in there, I have reverse osmosis water system with multi-stage filters, and
amazing.
And you drink that water, and then you drink the tap water, and you're just like, what the is in this? This is the nastiest. Am I drinking sewer water? What's going on here?
So it's important. There are some really simple things that you can do to help yourself. If you're able to go outside and use the sunlight in the morning, that will really help, and walk on the earth rather than just on some tarmac. If you walk on grass, that will really help your body. Your body is an energy source. So you can help to detoxify your body quite naturally if you needed to.
Now, what kind of clients do you mostly see? What do you have people coming to you a lot of times with their issue?
It really varies. The biggest thing at the moment is chronic fatigue, erectile dysfunction. I have issues with not sleeping. And look, being able to sleep is the body's biggest form of repair. So if you're not sleeping 7 to 8 hours a day consistently without having to get up for a pee, then your body is under duress of some sort. If you can get 7 to 8 hours constant sleep, that is probably one of the most effective things that you can do. But there aren't many people that do that.
Yeah, and I know a lot of people, as you get older, it seems harder. It seems like you struggle more with sleep. Like when I was young, man, I could sleep all day long. But when you get older, I know women in perimenopause and menopause will have trouble sleeping as well. Different issues they have with that. It's, you start losing your sleep, man. You can't heal. You can't, I'll go on a murder spree if I don't get my sleep. Like I gotta get my sleep. If I get 4 hours, I got to have my 4 hours later on that day. I have to get 8 somehow, or, people are going to die.
I don't think you're alone in that thought process. Just a lot of people, what happens is you just keep doing it So you might get 4 hours sleep, and then maybe in 2 or 3 years time, all of a sudden the symptoms, your body can deal with fight or flight for a certain period of time. It's used to certain stresses. So if you're being chased by a saber-toothed tiger, for example, it's used to that kind of stress. What it's not used to is consistent stress on the body. And that's when it will eventually break. And it will break in different forms. So you'll find the chronic fatigue, you'll start getting detoxification issues, so your liver won't work properly, and your adrenals, your powerhouse will go down, your mitochondria will suffer. And that's when, the heart problems come in, the kidney problems come in, and the erectile dysfunction.
Yeah. I know a lot of women who have erectile dysfunction. Get it? Oh, I had to do that joke.
I knew it would come in eventually.
Yeah, it's a little hard for them to have that, actually. But evidently they have it. But a lot of these chemicals and stuff. Now, what is the mitochondria? Tell us about what mitochondria is and how it helps us function and why we need it.
So every cell in the body has this, and you have billions of cells in your body. The biggest place for the most amounts is the heart. And the mitochondria is, like I said before, it is the powerhouse. It is like the battery of every single cell. So it's producing energy. If that isn't working very well, then you won't work very well, because none of the cells that are produced will work very well.
Do you find that a lot of people that are really struggling and maybe they're being misdiagnosed by doctors?
All the time.
Really, it's just a matter of doing toxicology panels and finding out what's poisoning them?
Absolutely. All the time. Because these days, doctors look at the symptoms and they just go to their book and they'll prescribe a pill for that symptom. What they won't look for is what the root cause of that symptom is. And then the one pill that they give you for that symptom might give you some side effects, and then they'll give you a pill to offset the side effects, and then it can keep going. Somebody I was speaking to earlier today, they're on 39 tablets.
39 tablets?
How is that possible per day?
Holy crap.
If you just sorted the blood pressure out in the first place, you wouldn't then need all these other tablets.
Yeah.
But, the first went to the doctor and they said, you've got high blood pressure. They just gave them a tablet. They never got to the reason as to why they'd got the high blood pressure.
Yeah. Could be eating that McDonald's every day, or, and
Well,
you got
that
some other
won't help.
There's some toxicology for you. It's a lot of our American medicine. We just kind of fix the problem. If you have pain, here's something to make the pain go away. But you're like, what made the pain in the first place? And I know a lot of people that have fibromyalgia or low energy or, those sort of issues. They have a hard time getting diagnosed with what's going on with them. They have a hard time finding out what it is. And I can imagine a lot of it. Like I said, I had friends that had lupus, and she had all the fillings from her teeth removed from her childhood that were highly toxic. And she became 10,000 times better. She still had lupus, but her ability to deal with it and live with the symptoms was 10,000 times improved. Like, her life really became highly improved from the quality of it. And it was really just the heavy metals or whatever in her teeth that was filling from.
But then you can help the lupus. You can help quite a lot of autoimmune conditions. Generally, some of them are exacerbated, for example, by a leaky gut. And you may have heard this term before. And if a lot of people remove things, but they still potentially haven't healed the original issue. So if you dive a bit deeper and heal that original root cause and put these autoimmune issues sort of into neutral, then you live a really, accelerated, optimized life.
I mean, this is the sort of thing. I mean, between all the toxicity of what we intake, how we breathe, the pollution in the air, the pollution in our food, the pollution in our water. I mean, it's a wonder we're still alive sometimes. We're
very sick as a world. We're very sick.
Well, I've seen that in the news. Our minds are kind of sick too, along with our bodies. I mean, what's that old adage? What we experience in the body, we experience in the mind, or something of that nature. And you bring up a good point, the leaky gut. A lot of people don't realize that, and we've talked about a lot on the show, is that gut health is so important. It's your second brain.
For sure. And I think the amount of ingredients, especially in the US, that you have in a lot of your foods, I always say, read the ingredients. If you can't pronounce the word or you don't know how to say it, then how does the body know what to do with it?
I found that. I mean, your body naturally processes normal, natural sugar. It's designed to do that. But you give it something like stevia. Like I recently had a run-in with, what was it? Sucralose.
Oof.
And I had run out of this protein that I buy that's from Naked Nutrition. I love their products. They don't pay for that, by the way. And the reason they call it Naked Nutrition is because it's naked of all the fillers. And so it's literally just like with protein, it's just protein. There's no sugar added. There's no sucralose. There's no stevia. There's nothing. Like it says right on the label, this is it. And a lot of their products have, less than 6 ingredients or whatever is necessary for what they're selling. And so I like it. It's naked, it's clean, if you will. Kind of a weird way to put it, they do, but hey, it's their business. But so recently they ran out of the protein I needed. So I had to go find some protein. One of my problems is I'm lactose intolerant, like really bad.
Okay.
If I get lactose, there's nuclear things that make Chernobyl happen with me that make Chernobyl look like just a kid's science lab project.
Got it.
Yeah, there's nuclear fission that actually takes place. Like I could probably fuel a small city or something. I don't know. Anyway, where was I before I segued into the milk stuff? But anyway, it can have a humongous effect on me and my effect on life.
You've gone off the, you were going to buy sucralose. Yeah.
Sucralose. There we go. So I got this. So I can't take just any protein that's whey. I have to make sure it's free of the thing in milk that sets me off, and lactose free. And so I bought some lactose-free protein, which there's not a lot of availability of it. That's supposed to be clear, but they'd added sucralose. And sucralose is 600 times sweeter than normal healthy sugar that you can eat over the thing. And it was making me sick. I was like, I literally wanted to vomit it up. And I was like, what is in this stuff? And it was so sweet. I'm like, holy crap, if you can naturally drink this and not blink an eye, where are you on the diabetic chart? And the sucralose was just overwhelming. And then I had it in a energy drink that I was taking on the way to the gym, and I was getting to the gym and feeling so sick and overwhelmed I didn't want to work out. After a half an hour, my gut would just be like, what the fuck did you do to us? Now, I try not to drink a lot of sugar or eat a lot of sugar or sugar in my foods, et cetera, et cetera. But if I do sugar, like coffee and stuff, I will do natural, healthy sugar. I will not do these fake stevia, these fake crap stuff. And so just discovering that, and I'm just like, how much is this sucralose in all of our food? And it turns out it's in a lot. And our body doesn't know how to process it. Like it was literally making me sick. And
that and corn syrup.
Corn syrup, yeah, that's big here. High fructose corn syrup here in America. I grew up in the 70s when, the changeover was when we had real sugar, and then we changed over this high fructose corn syrup. And yeah, it's really crazy the difference it makes in my life.
I think as well, and you alluded to the mental health concerns, I think that plays a big part in mental health issues, specifically the processed and ultra processed foods that are available these days. Yeah, it's crazy. So tell people how they can onboard with you, how they can reach out to you, give them your final pitch as we go out in the .coms. Okay, so my website again is the wellness-concierge.com, and you can fill out a contact form and I will get back to you. Our socials is the wellness_concierge. Thank you very much for coming on the show and sharing with us your knowledge, Helen, and how we should all take and clean up our act, when we're putting in our bodies. Thank you so much for having me. It's been a pleasure. Thank you. And thanks so much for tuning in. Go to goodreads.com/Chris Voss, LinkedIn.com/Chris Voss 1 on the TikTok and all those crazy places on the internet. Be good to each other. Stay safe. We'll see you next time. And that should have us out, Helen. Great.